Purposely. Your life, God's purpose. Listen at purposely.com.
How do you get to heaven? Do I really have to read the Bible? How do I pray? Did Jesus really walk on water? That's a doozy.
The podcast where kids can get answers to their big questions about faith. Here's your host, Pastor Eric.
Welcome to That's a Doozy. We live in God's big and beautiful world that is filled with wonder. And sometimes that wonder also brings up a lot of questions. And this podcast is all about asking those questions. I'm Pastor Eric, and I'm here with two very good friends that I would like to introduce to you. We're going to start with my friend who is on my left. Would you like to introduce and share what your name is?
My name is Tucker.
Tucker, I am so glad you could be here. This is exciting. And how about my friend on my right? What's your name?
Halle.
Halle, I'm so glad that you are here today. Now, I always like to kind of kick off these times together by asking you two some questions, because you get to ask me questions. So it's only fair, Tucker, that I get to ask you a question, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Oh, let's see. What question do I want to ask? Oh, I think I know. I am curious if you could eat any dinner in the world, what dinner would you choose to eat? Tucker, do you want to start?
Horse meat.
Horse meat. Oh, my word. Tucker, have you ever had horse meat?
I've seen it, but I haven't ate it.
Oh, really? I'm really curious. Tucker, I have 1,000 questions now, but I'm just going to ask, what would you eat with that horse meat?
Some rice.
Some rice. That is amazing, Tucker. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, Halle, are you going to eat horse meat too? Oh, okay. No. Okay. Halle, what meal, if you could have any dinner, what would you eat?
I'm still thinking.
That's okay. It's good to think.
Meatloaf.
Meatloaf. You like meatloaf? Who makes the best meatloaf?
My Grammy and Papa.
Your Grammy and Papa? Wow. I bet you they're going to be pretty happy to hear that. And what will you eat alongside your meatloaf? Anything else?
Sauce.
Sauce. Okay. I like it. Well, now I'm really, really hungry, but we should probably move on to some of your questions. Okay. Halle, why don't we start with you? Because you have a great question, I think. Would you like to ask your question nice and loud?
I'm still thinking.
It's okay. You can think. Big questions take big time to think about.
How is people's body in heaven?
How are people's bodies in heaven? Like, what are our bodies going to be like in heaven? Ooh, I like that question, Halle. That's a really big question, and I'm impressed that you asked that. Do you know why? A lot of people think that when we're in heaven, they think we're going to be like floating around like little angels with little wings. Do you think you're going to have wings and like a little angel in heaven? No. Well, the Bible doesn't tell us exactly what we're going to be like in heaven, but it does tell us a few things that will kind of help us to understand what our bodies are like in heaven, right? So one area that we can look at is in the Bible, 1 Corinthians 15, where the Apostle Paul, he talks about how our bodies are going to be imperishable. Now, Tucker, I don't know about you, but imperishable, can you say that?
Imperishable.
Halle, do you think you can say that word?
Imperishable.
Oh, wow, that was good. But that's a big word. What does it mean? Do you know what it means?
No.
Halle, any thoughts?
No.
No, I know. Don't worry. Don't feel bad. I had to think about how would I describe that? Well, have you ever gone to the grocery store, maybe with your mom or your dad, and you got some fruit?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you know sometimes that people call those grocery items perishable? Yeah, I wish everyone could see your face, Hallie. It's like, what does that mean? Well, what happens if you were to take, what's your favorite fruit, Hallie?
Watermelon.
Whoa, okay, watermelon. Can you eat a whole one by yourself? You can? Wow, okay. Anyways, what would happen if you took that watermelon and you set it outside and you just left it there for a few days? What do you think, Tucker?
It would get all yucky.
It would get all yucky. That's right. The big word is it would like decompose, right?
And then it would turn into just slime and stuff.
Slime and stuff. Yeah. Would it
People would slip on it.
And then people would slip on it. And then we've got a whole nother set of issues, right? So, moral of the story, don't leave watermelon outside. Okay.
Yeah.
However, watermelon, it's perishable, all right? Fruit and food like that, it's perishable. It'll break down. It'll turn mushy. But
only if it got something big crushed on it that could break it open.
That is, something big it would have to be big to crush a watermelon, wouldn't it?
Because no tiny rain can do it or anything.
Yeah, tiny rain, not going to crush that watermelon. Well, what Paul says, he tells us that in heaven, our bodies are not going to be perishable, break down and turn oozy, but that they are imperishable, which means those bodies will last forever. Isn't that pretty cool?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, here's the other cool thing. In the book of Revelation, which, if you didn't know, Tucker, is the last book in the Bible, all right, it talks about a new heaven and a new earth. And Jesus, when he comes back, he's going to make a new earth for us to live where sin isn't affecting everything. And in that new heaven, everything's going to be the way that it should have been in the first place, right? In the garden, like in the Garden of Eden, before Adam and Eve sinned. So there's going to be a real place that's physical that you can touch. Like, can you touch your skin right now? See how you can kind of like feel that? People listening, they could do that too. They kind of like give them a little pinch on the arm. It's like, oh, that's physical. That's real, right? Well, in heaven, we're going to have real bodies. In fact, when Jesus, after he died on the cross, he rose again. And he was in his new body. And do you know what Jesus did with the disciples after he rose from the dead?
No.
He had food with them. Did you know that?
Yeah, I remember that.
I thought you did. Now, here's a question. You might have seen a movie like, can a ghost or a spirit eat food?
No.
What do you think would happen if they tried?
It would just fall down like this.
It would just like fall right down, right?
Yeah, and then it would barf it up.
Yep, all that horse meat just going right back up. Well, but that was kind of important that Jesus ate food with them because it showed that he had a real body, a physical body. And so we know that one day in heaven, we'll have real physical bodies and they will be imperishable, which means they're not going to break down. So does that help answer your question, Haley? Yeah? That we're going to have real bodies. Now, what are they going to look like? I don't know. Do you think everyone's going to have lots of hair?
No.
No? You think so, Tucker?
They're going to be here they can't see.
Oh, they have so much hair that it's covering their eyes?
Yeah, they'll have to walk like this.
Oh, like zombies? I don't know. I mean, I think I like Hallie's thought that no one will have hair. They'll just look like me. A lot more aerodynamic.
Now, they would have the same hair as like down in.
Oh, maybe they'll have the hair like they have now? Oh, well, you know what? That is a good question. We can think about it, ponder it, but
Yours, all the bald people can grow back because this is there.
So you think I can grow my hair back in heaven? Whoa, I wonder what that'll look like. Oh, maybe you could draw me a picture of it one day, of what I would look like with hair.
Okay. Maybe it will be rock and roll hair.
Rock and roll hair. Oh, that'd be fun. Well, we will just have to wait to see that. Okay, Tucker, I'm going to come over to you because I know you have got a question, and I want to hear what your question is.
Why does God make kids be sick?
Whoa, why does God make kids get sick?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a hard question to answer. Tucker, have you been sick?
Yeah, I think 10 times already.
10 times. Exactly. Have you had friends that are sick?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you feel like? Like, are you happy, sad? What do you feel like when you're sick?
I feel like I'm going to throw up.
Okay. Well, should have seen that one coming. Yep. That's kind of how we often do feel when we're sick. So why does God allow that to happen? That's a really big question. And, the Bible does talk a lot about the sad and the bad things that happen in the world. Do you think that God wanted us to be getting sick and have sad days, bad days?
No.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either. What was the very first place that God created where a guy and a girl were walking around and hanging out with him? Do you remember that?
Yeah. Fruit and tree. There was fruit and trees.
Yeah, there was fruit and trees. You remember the first man and the first woman, what their names were?
Adam and Eve.
Adam and Eve. And where did they live?
In the Garden of Eden.
The Garden of Eden. That's right. God made a beautiful world, a beautiful garden for them to enjoy, so they could enjoy creation and that they could enjoy God and getting to know Him, which was spectacular. But my follow-up question, Tucker, did the garden stay perfect?
No, it did not.
What happened?
Because Adam and Eve ate the fruit from the tree that God said they couldn't eat from.
That's right. They ate the fruit and they decided to disobey God. And they said, you know what? We want to do what we want to do instead of what God has asked us to do. And from that point on, something came into the world. Do you know what it was? Sin, yeah. And sin, it's kind of like a little virus or a little parasite. Have you ever heard of a virus? Kinda. Virus is like maybe what makes people sick. It takes us when we feel good and it makes us feel yucky. Well, sin came into this world and it made the world sick and it made the world broken. And now the good things that God wanted for us became broken. And part of that was our health. And because sin came into the world, people would get sick. And it's not that God wanted people to get sick, but it's a consequence of sin entering into the world. But there's some good news about that. Okay. So getting sick, it's a consequence of our world being broken and sin being in our world. But the good news is that God doesn't run away from us when we are sick. Now, I don't know about you, but Halle, have you ever seen somebody who looks really sick? Yeah. Do you run towards that person? No, you're shaking your head like, no, why would I do that? How about you, Tucker? If you see somebody who's like really sick, are you like, ooh, I'm going to go right next to that person?
No, because then I would get sick.
Yeah, then you would get sick. Well, you know what? I'm with you. Like if I see somebody sick, I take a few steps backwards. I'm like, no, thank you. Well, the Bible tells us that God has a heart and He feels for those who are brokenhearted, right? Those who are in difficult times. Psalm 34:18 says that God's heart is near the brokenhearted, right? And God loves us so much that He came into this world that is broken, that's filled with sin, so that He could help us in those sad times, in those hard times. And He wasn't going to just leave us all alone. Do you like being left alone when you're sick?
Sometimes.
Yeah, when you're like feeling sick, do you like just being all alone?
If I get to watch TV, then yes.
Okay, good, touche. That is a good answer. Well, I remember when I was a little kid, I always wanted my mom or my dad nearby when I wasn't feeling well. And God has promised that he would be near us and with us, even in hard and difficult times. And then there's one other thing that happens in this world where sin has infected everything. Did you know that God can even take things that are hard and difficult and sad and bad in our lives, and he can make them into things that ultimately become good and helpful in our lives. And it can help us to trust in God. It can help us to learn more about God and understand his love in ways that we never would have understood. And God can even take the sad and the bad things in our lives, and he can make them into things that can become good. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah? Well, there you go. Well, Tucker, do you have any other questions?
No.
No? Halle, how are you feeling? Any other questions?
Yes.
You do have another question? What is it?
I don't know.
Okay, well, maybe, Halle, you'll think of another question later, and you can come back and we can talk about your questions. Because remember, Tucker, always ask questions. Questions are good, and God is the God of truth, and so we don't have to be afraid about asking really big, hard questions. So thank you, Tucker. Thank you, Halle, for being on our show today, and I look forward to many more questions that lots of other boys and girls have. Do you want to say bye real quick?
Bye. Bye.
All right, bye.